Imagine a place shrouded in mystery, a place that has seen many faces and served many purposes. This is the story of Alcatraz. Nestled in the cradle of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz Island is most famous for its stint as a federal prison, a fortress that once housed some of America's most notorious criminals. But this island's narrative is far richer than its prison walls might suggest. From its early days as a military fortification to its role in the Native American rights movement, Alcatraz has a past that is both fascinating and complex. Today, we embark on a journey, a deep dive into the lesser-known facts of this historical landmark. We will unravel the hidden layers of Alcatraz, each layer revealing a different facet of its intriguing past. But Alcatraz, often known as the Rock, holds more secrets than you might think. Before it became a symbol of ultimate confinement, Alcatraz was a beacon of hope for Native Americans. In the late 60s, a wave of activism swept across the indigenous communities. Alcatraz Island became the epicenter of this movement from 1969 to 71. Native Americans, weary of centuries of injustice, took a stand. They occupied the island, demanding its return to the indigenous people. Their vision was not just about reclaiming lost territory. They dreamt of a cultural center, a place where the heritage and spirit of Native American tribes could thrive amidst the modern world. Their occupation lasted for 2 years, a period of time that was both tumultuous and transformative. It was an act of defiance, a call for recognition, and a fight for rights. Yet, it's a chapter often overlooked in the history of Alcatraz. This was a chapter in Alcatraz's history that many often overlook. Before housing infamous criminals, Alcatraz served a very different purpose. In the mid-19th century, amidst the turmoil of the Civil War, Alcatraz adopted a martial persona. It was transformed from a mere rocky outcrop into a military stronghold. Its isolated location in the choppy waters of the San Francisco Bay made it an ideal site for a fortress, a vanguard against potential enemy attacks. But Alcatraz was not just a bulwark of stone and cannons. It also functioned as a military prison. Its formidable defenses and remote location proved just as effective at keeping prisoners in as they were at keeping enemies out. Confederate sympathizers and military prisoners found themselves confined within its cold stone walls, far from the battlefields of the Civil War. So, before it ever gained notoriety as a federal penitentiary, Alcatraz was already steeped in a history of isolation and confinement. The Rock was already a place of confinement, even before its days as a federal prison. Have you ever wondered why Alcatraz is called the Rock? The moniker takes us back to the days when Alcatraz served as a federal penitentiary. It's not just about the island's physical geography, although that's part of it. The name The Rock embodies the isolation felt by the inmates and the monumental challenge they faced in any escape attempts. It's more than a nickname. It's a symbol, a metaphor for the harsh realities of life on Alcatraz. The nickname The Rock is a stark reminder of the island's isolation and the almost impossible task of escape. Alcatraz wasn't just home to infamous criminals. It also housed lesser-known inmates and offered them some surprising amenities. While the notorious escape attempts from Alcatraz often steal the spotlight, let's not forget the lesser-known yet equally daring attempts. Some inmates, in their desperate quest for freedom, crafted dummy heads to fool the guards during bed checks. Others took to digging tunnels, no small feat considering the rock-hard terrain, or even crafting makeshift rafts, braving the treacherous currents of the San Francisco Bay. While it's easy to assume that life in Alcatraz was all doom and gloom, there were also elements of normalcy within those prison walls. Believe it or not, Alcatraz boasted a well-stocked library. With over 15,000 books, inmates could escape, if only in their minds, to far-off places and times. Reading was not just a pastime, but also a privilege, one that inmates could enjoy in their cells during designated times. Now, let's talk about Robert Stroud, better known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. Contrary to popular belief, Stroud did not keep birds at Alcatraz. He was a passionate ornithologist during his time at Leavenworth Penitentiary. But upon his transfer to Alcatraz, he had to leave his feathered friends behind. Alcatraz was not just a prison, it was also a home. Not to the inmates, of course, but to the wardens and their families. The island featured spacious residences far removed from the main cell block area. These homes, complete with gardens and panoramic views of the San Francisco Bay, stood in stark contrast to the grim reality of prison life. Life on the Rock was undoubtedly tough, but it was also full of unexpected twists and turns. Alcatraz ceased to be a federal penitentiary in 1963, but its story didn't end there. After its closure, the island stood silent and deserted for several years, hidden from the public eye, but not forgotten. Its lighthouse, the first on the West Coast, built in 1854, continued its steadfast vigil, casting its luminous gaze over the unpredictable waters of San Francisco Bay. This beacon of light, the Alcatraz Lighthouse, has been a silent observer of the island's transformation over the years. From a military stronghold to a federal prison, and finally into a symbol of history, the lighthouse has been a constant guiding ships through the treacherous waters, as if a metaphor for the island's tumultuous past. Years after the prison's closure, a new chapter in Alcatraz's history began. The island was reborn as part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. No longer a place of confinement, Alcatraz opened its doors to curious visitors from around the world. The stories of its past began to echo through its abandoned corridors, captivating over 1 million visitors each year. From the Native American occupation to the infamous inmates who once walked its cell blocks, each corner of Alcatraz whispers tales of its colorful and often mysterious history. Today, Alcatraz stands not just as a reminder of its past, but also as a beacon guiding us through the waters of history. So, there you have it, 10 lesser-known facts about Alcatraz. From its early days as a military stronghold and the Native American occupation to the notorious nickname The Rock. We've delved into the lives of the unknown inmates, their escape attempts, and the surprising amenities like the prison library. We've met the famous Birdman and explored the warden's residences. Finally, we touched on its afterlife as a beacon for ships and a tourist attraction. The mysteries of Alcatraz are as deep as its history, and every visit, every book, every fact we uncover only adds another layer to its intriguing story.